Hey, good morning. We are running into technical difficulties, and I'm waiting here for Jill to arrive. Apparently, I just sent her a link. She's been in a room, and I've been in a room, and it's not the same room. But here she is.
There we are. Sorry
There
about
she
that.
is.
I was on a totally different one. How fabulous.
Oh, you know what? This is perfect for us, Jill. And I love the opportunity to connect. I started the room. I started the broadcast only because if we don't, Facebook deletes it. So I thought, well, we've been promoting this thing. We've been, publishing and doing some PR and stuff here and there, as you well know. And so I just thought I would just start this and get us started off on the right foot. So, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And I just really appreciate the fact and the opportunity to share what you're doing and some of the things that we may not even think about in this day and age of all the social media and everything. And there's so many alternative ways that we can actually produce and publish and promote our business. And I wanted to share some of those ideas. And you are one of the people that I think has a little bit of experience in that, don't you?
I do. I have 4 of my own books, so of course that helps. And then all the people I've helped support over the years, absolutely. I know a few things about it.
I know something about something here, huh? So tell us, for those that aren't familiar, and if you're not connected to Jill, reach out and connect. Tell her Russ sent you, and offer some assistance and encouragement. And the pirate community is a wonderful thing, and she's now a pirate, so bring her into the community and welcome her with open arms. And Jill, for those that don't know you, give us a snapshot of who you are and why you're here today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So I've written 4 books, one of which is Guerilla Publicity. And then my latest book is called The Profit of Kindness. I've been speaking all around the world and now virtually, which is a lot of fun, helping really speakers, authors, consultants, coaches, all kinds of businesses get their word out, increase visibility using publicity as a primary marketing strategy. And then I also help people get books published, like real books, major books, like this one, for instance. There we go. Evan Markell, I got him an agent who got him the 6-figure book deal on Simon & Schuster. So I help people get published without a word written. And then I go to the Frankfurt Book Fair and help authors get foreign rights deals who are self-published. So in fact, my latest book, The Profit of Kindness, is in India now. So I'm thrilled.
I'm a huge fan of kindness.
Yes, it's a good thing.
So now that you've had this experience and you've been doing this for a while now, a lot of people are going to ask, well, is there like this secret message that I could put together? Is there one thing that I need to do? And I've never believed that there's only one thing you can do. However, I think a lot of people minimize the power of PR. And it used to be really prevalent long before social media. And I think it's really, there's 2 things that are true that I know, is that all media outlets need content. And people still love and enjoy reading books. As much digital as we have and as much computer time and FaceTime and all of these things that we have available to us, people still enjoy a good book. And so that process and publishing and the PR that goes along with that is not exclusive to books, but it's also speakers, authors, creators, people that need PR. Is that a fair assessment?
The truth is everyone needs PR. And the reality is, if you're an author, you've got to do PR before you have the book. That's a mistake a lot of people make, is they wait too long.
Yeah.
I have, coaches who wanted to build a practice and use publicity to drive prospects. Because, the thing that's powerful about publicity is it creates that visibility factor, the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. And the reality is people start knowing your name, they get attracted to you, and that is something that's key. So it's great for building prospects, for keeping people aware of your name, for building trust, right? Because you've heard me on the show, there's a little more trust. You understand who I am. And I think that's really a key in today's world to create that visibility and trust factor, which is that know and like that keeps people connected to you.
Well, I think the statement that sparked for me is I've seen you somewhere, or I've heard of you somewhere. Yeah, that name sounds familiar. I think is so absolutely important to be able to and a lot of what I do with the Pirate Syndicate is it's that idea of authority and visibility. Just being out there in the world is going to help that. I've heard of you somewhere. I've heard your name somewhere. And being able to get out there in a way that is positive and productive is something that you're a master at, from what I've observed anyway. So.
Well, thank you. And, part of it is consistency and persistency. Right. And that's important. I think a lot of people fall off at that. They're like, oh, well, I tried once, or, I reached out to, let's say, their local paper, which is really wonderful to get in, or let's say podcasts, or to be in blogs. And it's that consistency, persistency factor. And the good news about today's media world, I think, Russ, it's really opened up because of podcasts and blogs, because of social media. And anyone who's worked with me in my publicity courses understands the power of being consistent, and that there are so many opportunities, and that your message needs to be repeated in multiple platforms. And I think that that's a real key too.
Yeah. I call it a traffic circle, where you have a piece of information, and then you have that information distributed across multiple platforms. And the message is the same. And it's the fact that I can help with this, solve this problem for this person, or something very similar. Like a book author is going to say, we are publishing this book in the future and would love to have you support us. And you can build momentum and build a community around that.
Yes, true. I mean, I'll tell you, with Prophet of Kindness, we started 1 year in advance. And so this is something I'm always, trying to tell people, is that you must be starting your publicity before you need it, not when you need it. So when we were counting down literally to the release of Prophet of Kindness, I already had scheduled Fox News interviews. I love talking about kindness on Fox. Isn't that interesting? And, I had 7 of them across the United States. I had a CBS TV show. I've been on a cover magazine in Australia, in Iran. Excuse me. We were able to have kindness go across the nation because we started early enough and across the world.
It's a global thing.
I think that's a key.
It's a global thing. Kindness is a global. Anyone can have kindness. Anyone can share it. When you share a smile, 2 get produced, and you can double it. You can double it in no time. So
I love that. I may have to use that.
Yes, you can use that. So I just really think that there's a piece of the process that a lot of people fail to connect the dots with. And I've been in advertising since '85, so I've seen the process of press releases, and press releases. People, I don't think they get the visibility that they deserve. And so, is that one of your tools that you use in your toolbox to get on some of these platforms and share your message?
I absolutely do. I mean, listen, press releases are key only because they encapsulate your story, right?
Yeah.
And when I say your story, the truth is, when we were doing Prophet of Kindness, it was never, "Ooh, Jill's got a new book out. How exciting." The story was the divided states of America. The story was that there has been lacking kindness. And so that was the interesting story that got picked up, not the new book. And I think, honestly, this is a mistake that most, whether, again, I work with all kinds of people. They don't have to be authors, but that most people make is they assume the story's about their story, where what we've really got to do is focus the story on what's important to the audience that the media person has, right? You got the pirates, other people have a, consumer-based show or a business show or a marketing show, whatever it is, that's where it's got to be focused.
Yeah.
And I think that people forget that part, and they get consumed with my story. I'll tell you, honestly, this has been something I'm really working with people on is shifting the focus of the story to focus, and here's the key point, to focus on the problem out there, and that will make a huge difference.
So let me make sure that I capture this correctly. So rather than, it's not about me, it's about the story. I just happen to be a side effect or a benefit of coming along for the story. Is that what I'm capturing?
Pretty much. I mean, I call it the problem today is. And that's what you talk about. So, me being a publicity expert, I would say the problem today is 4 out of 5 businesses will go out of business because they have no clue how to create publicity without spending a fortune, right? And that ties into my Guerilla Publicity book, and that ties into my main message. But it's not like, the other piece of hire Jill or do one of her courses. We got to focus on the people. And I think this is really the piece that a lot of people miss, is they keep talking about the message of them, so to speak. And you got to work it in. Listen, Russ, we all know, and I think I want all of you to know, you're all promoting something, you're all marketing something. That's okay. It's really okay.
That's the way the world turns around. Everybody
right.
has something that they want to share, right?
That's
Whether
right.
it's for value or notoriety. And that's what I always say. It's like everybody has a gift, everybody has a message, and you are the media, right? We all have the opportunity and the ability to publish. And the difference is the people that publish and do it well also have the promotion in place. They have the ability and the opportunity to actually connect the dots when it comes to publishing, promoting, and being able to get the public relations machine behind that whole topic, that whole effort. So,
yes,
and that's what you bring to the
beautiful
table.
Way to say it.
Yeah. And I think it's the whole package. It's like, okay, I got a car, but I don't have any tires. Why can't I go anywhere? Right. So I want to talk a little bit about the philosophy that you have, with the first book. Was the first book the Guerilla Marketing? The
first book was Guerilla Publicity. Yes.
Guerilla
Publicity. Guerilla Publicity. There we go. It's right behind me.
That was kind of, that's been out a while. And so there's been a lot of growth hacking. And how would you differentiate growth hacking versus publicity?
Well, can I just tell you, we have our 3rd edition coming out. The good news is we always update it, put it with the power of what's happening right now.
Yeah.
So, the reality is publicity is a powerful medium that has been around, but continues to stay strong. The reality is people still watch, whether it's TV on their device, whether it's a standard TV, whatever, people are still watching mediums, which include TV. They're reading, they're watching videos, they're listening to podcasts. Every plug-in, in fact, every car is going to have a plug-in podcast, right? And so yes, it's key to plug into different mediums. But the truth is publicity is publicity is publicity, whether you're on a podcast, on a TV show, on a radio show, in your social media, doing a Facebook Live. Hey, guess what? The other day I was on an Instagram show. it's still a show, right?
It's still a
And so
show.
it's still a show, exactly. It just changed formats. And
Yeah.
I just really want people to get the power of the formats. In fact, I really like, these podcasts that are simple and time effective, right?
Yeah.
Because people don't have a lot of time. So they like things delivered to them in chunks and segments. And I think you really always got to be breaking down your content so that your content can get recognized with simple messages. And
Yeah.
I like to call it the problem solution formula. Keep it really oriented toward that. Keep your message simple and keep it in 5-year-old language. I tell you, I was helping a guy the other day, and he's putting out an app and creating a whole new technology. And my whole session with him was focused on recreating a message that anyone could understand. He was doing it with real estate investors. I'm like, you're assuming real estate investors have this high tech mind that you have, but they don't. They just want to understand how to press a button and go.
Well, it's perception and reality, because if, like on the tech side, I've been in tech and marketing for a while, and you get the sense that everybody should know what you know, and it's not the case at all. So you have to change your perspective and step outside and say, okay, how can I change my perspective to see what the audience sees? Well, and I think that's part of what you offer, right?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Because as much as, people I work with are smart and focused and committed and have great messages, if nobody hears it, how can anybody participate with you, whatever you're selling and promoting and offering, right? Whether it's coaching or a product or a book or whatever it is, right? Or you want to do any of the above. Nobody's going to participate unless they have a way they can say yes to you, and that you offer it in digestible segments or easy to understand ways that people can ingest and want and say yes to.
Well, that's a great point, because 20 years ago, the ability to digest a piece of information looks considerably different than the way it looks today. So how has press releases or media or promotions or publicity in general changed as a result of that?
Well, social media obviously has exploded everything. But one of the things, I have a gentleman in Australia, and one of the things he did was shifted his message to my problem solution formula. He said he got 250 likes in one day on Facebook, as an example, by shifting a message to simplicity, because he too was talking too high above people. And I think that's really often an issue. So because things have changed, and when the other thing I would tell you is the 15-minute podcast. One of my clients is doing a 6-minute webinar now. And I do think, I tell people when they make videos, particularly on YouTube and even Facebook Lives, I think 2 minutes and under. Because at least if people tune in, they'll listen and they're out, right? And then they know that, so they're not going to press the button too quick. But the reality is, we all know that the attention span is much shorter than it's ever been. Yeah. So you've got to be fastly serving people, give them good information, not dance around it too much, and be authentic and be more transparent. That's what people want. So marketing has changed in that way. I know people are still writing sometimes long sales letters. I don't think they're as effective anymore. Like all that, all the kinds of stuff where you have to just keep reading. And the truth is, there are different mentalities. So, I always say to people, listen, for the high brainiacs and the analytics, you give them the click here, and then they can find much more information. For people who are bottom line, want it now, you've got to say, here's what you get. Here's the benefits. Boom. Right? Yeah. Right. So multiple personalities, so to speak, and you market slightly different to them. But I do really believe people want things much faster, much quicker, and much simpler. And the click here is important for the rest who want more information.
That's great advice. And anybody that's listening in, I just want to share the fact that Jill has been doing this and producing results for a lot of people for a lot of years. And if you're looking to accomplish something in your publicity and your promotions and everything else, oh, we lost her. She's back. And, I just want to make sure that you're connected with her and reach out and make sure that, and as you know, Jill, I am streaming this live on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and LinkedIn. So multiple distribution channels. And then by the end of the day, it'll be a post and a podcast and a transcription on russjohns.com. So all of these things add up to volumes. And I think you're episode number 180. So on the Pirate Broadcast.
Thank you.
So I just want to make sure that people have an opportunity to connect, and I can highlight interesting people doing interesting things. And so one of the things that I want to find out is especially with podcasts now, they're different than a book. And I'm not really sure if I understand the best connection and how people can actually articulate in a press release, or how they can publish or, produce results in the promotion process. And is there anything that you've experienced along your travels that would give us clues on how to best promote our podcasts as it relates to other media?
So, having a podcast as a form of media, we love that. Mm-hmm. So being a media person, what I always say to media people is you use and leverage that to other media people, because they understand that you understand media. So One of the things about having a podcast, depending on the topic, is you want to be promoting it to other topically oriented media people. So it's not the podcast itself, it's perhaps the business of podcast, or it's the theme of the podcast that is more interesting from a media perspective. And I think that's a real key. So one of the things I'm always big on, press releases announce certain things, but again, it's not that, the Russ Johns podcast show, right? It's more around maybe who you are, or the unique perspective of maybe a guest or three.
Right.
And I always think putting roundup, they're called roundup articles and pieces together, are more interesting because it gives multiple perspectives, right? So, one of my clients, for instance, in Minneapolis, walked into a consulting interview, and the gentleman said to her, listen, I Googled you. Well, she had gotten one line in the Minneapolis Star Tribune, and because of that publicity and the power of that, actually got the gig. Why? Because she was the one who was featured. He assumed and knew she knew how to work media and understood the presence and the power of that. And so even as, other media people, the good news is there's an assumption that you already know, that you're inside. But one of the things I think is a really powerful strategy, and again, another sort of now strategy, is following other, whether it's podcasters, reporters, producers, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on the platforms, for instance, where you're already on, I think would be great. Obviously, you're already on LinkedIn, you're on YouTube, so the places where you're already on, follow other people who are doing things similar. And I think momentum creates momentum. The power of that connection creates momentum.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, I wanted to give a shout out to some of the people that are in the room today sharing us. And Angie's going to say good morning. I love this. Joe, good morning. Batman in the room. And LinkedIn, good morning, friends. Sima, good morning. How are you today? And Gabriel's another live streamer that we know and love in the room. So another LinkedIn user. And I'm not sure why some of these LinkedIn users are not showing up. I think they need to allow StreamYard, or they need to access StreamYard somehow. So I need to reach out to Jill. Gabriel does a evening show, Jill. So he's always up for wonderful guests like yourself. So
Thank you,
you go. Another one. And then Byron, good morning. Stay strong, safe, sane. And then Wendy does a podcast. She helps authors in children's books, specifically a lot with children's books and getting published as well. So she's another great connection that I know and love. And then Wendy, she's works a lot in film and in the film industry, and she's done films and a number of creative projects, and she's just an awesome rock star. So wonderful conversation. Jimmy Clem, will viewers engage with a posted open-ended question as a conversation starter? Will viewers engage? Let me answer that question, Jimmy. So there you go, Jimmy. I will. Yes, asking open-ended questions in a post are really great for conversation starters and engaging people for what they're doing. So I love that. And then Wendy, thank you, Russ. Appreciate it. So Jill, I want to leave. I don't want to leave today without having an opportunity to get people a little bit of information on about how they can connect with you. What's the best way? What's the preferred method of connecting you, engaging with you? Everybody has a different preference. Everybody has a different way of doing that. And so share a few things with the audience today on how you like to be connected and reached out and engaged with.
Thank you. Well, first of all, a couple things. I want you to get my free gift, which is more cool publicity tips. Go to jilllublin.com/publicity. Okay. So jilllublin.com/publicity. If you want to talk to me, connect to me in any way, work with me or ask a question, please email support@jilllublin.com. would be fantastic. And let's rock and roll and help you whether it's get a message out, whether it's put a book together, whether it's powerfully create a message that matters. That's really what I think is so key. And getting a message that matters out into the world would be really important with whatever you're working on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I really love your process. So kind of in a selfish snapshot sort of way, I have this, I promote a lot of kindness is cool, smiles are free. And that's been a tagline forever. And for myself, I believe that right now that's important. So what I probably should be doing is promoting that and publishing that fact out to some local channels or doing some local promotion here on the fact that this is a channel that is promoting kindness. This is a channel that is promoting the smiles are free, because you could take one down and pass it around, right? And a few things like that, and make sure that people understand and appreciate that I'm highlighting people like yourself to improve the world, and because everybody has a gift, everybody has a message. So I need to promote that and publish that fact to some other platforms, I guess. So on a short list, where would I want to go look and search out those other platforms and some alternatives that I may not have thought about in the past? So
a couple things that I would do. Number one, and yes, the kindness message is great. And the reality, Russ, is you do what's right in the time, right? So in today's marketplace, yes, kindness is so key. And I think I would look at a few things like I talked about regarding start seeing who's doing stories about kindness or about unkindness. Right? Sometimes you can take the opposite piece and see who's doing what about other elements that relate to kindness, or people who are doing business stories where kindness is key, right? Yeah. And so I think that's really, as we look, Honda did a huge campaign on kindness. There's major companies jumping on who are doing great things.
Oh, fantastic. So you just kind of have to do some searching around and find out who's doing that. Reach out to them and just say, "Hey, I'm doing something around that subject," and then just offer them some assistance or an opportunity to connect. Is it that simple?
It's a yes. It's that simple. And people complicate things. But truthfully, it's really, that's the pitch, right?
Yeah.
And the pitch, of course, would be, I would mold it just a little more. But the point
I'm
is,
sure.
you don't have to make your pitch difficult. And this process is easier than you think. And I think the point is, let's just get started with some main key points. What solutions would you tell others to do? You know, like I say, practice a conscious act of kindness every day, not a random act, but a conscious act of kindness every single day.
Yeah.
And that's one of my key points, right? So find your key points, whatever your topic is. And those are the ones you lay down. Remember the words consistently and persistently.
Yeah. And I also do a show at night, Jill, and it was funny that you brought this up because it actually ended up being a kind of a sideways joke, because I used to do 2-minute tips. And I would sometimes go over and people would say, they're not 2-minute tips. This one lasted more than 2 minutes. And I kept watching. And so I did 2-minute tips in 10 minutes or less.
Oh, that's good. I like that. That's funny.
So I do that. I stream it live to YouTube and then post it on LinkedIn.
I love that.
You know,
when Networking Magic came out, I did a show called The Connecting Minute, literally 1 minute connecting tips, networking, how to be effective. And then I put that actually on a local show. It's called Interstitial Marketing, literally a local major news show. And I just created the time and bought the time in that case, and showed up on a business show, which was really powerful in my local market. So get creative, look for ways to keep spreading your message. And the good news, I tell you, I think it's good news, is that we have so many formats now to multiply spread our messages. That's good news.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jill. And I really appreciate the opportunity to connect and you know, have this conversation that helps a lot of other people out there that are thinking about it, considering it, wondering what they're going to do. So I will put everything in the show notes and put that out there. If you want to learn more, go to russjohns.com and subscribe to get notified when a new episode arrives. And also, if you like this and it brought you value, you know, share it out and do some things, you know, all the social media stuff. And as you can tell, Jill, I probably need some PR.
We'll talk about that.
As we all do, right?
Everybody needs PR. Best way to get yourself out there. And thank you so much for having me.
And as always, you know, as I always say, I just really, really love the fact that you're here, and the pirate community has been so wonderful to me. And as always, kindness is cool. Smiles are free, and you enjoy the day. Thanks, Jill. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.